Alright, hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today, the Lumineth Realm-Lords Battle Tomes FAQ's been revealed, or been released I should say. So we're going to have a look around this and just sort of go through it and talk about all the things in it and how they affect the army. So let's get looking, and we'll look at the errata first and then we'll look at the designer's commentary after. So, to start off with, I guess the most important part of the errata, the spell laws change to Teclis, Cathalars, and Venari wizards only. This removes Eltharion from them and can end the argument of is Eltharion a wizard or not. I think that's just, it's done, it's dusted. He is not a wizard, he cannot take spells. So we've got the Great Nation of Siar, deplete reserves. You can use this commanded ability when a friendly Siar unit could use an Aether Quartz reserve ability even if a friendly Siar unit has already done so in the phase. This sort of just tidies up the wording for that, makes it obvious of what it's trying to do. I think that's really well done. It's just nice and tidy. And then Great Nation of Valithia, strike in unison, change the final sentence to you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for that unit until the end of that phase. So once again, just tidying up all those rules there, making sure it's nice and clean and just everything's working what it is. Which is really cool. I think that's exactly what all these FAQs should do. This is good little FAQ, just making everything work. Because of course this one here is the end of phase, because otherwise it would be you could just reroll ones forever is the thing that it's actually doing. The last FAQ has changed the second sentence of the first paragraph to Archmage Teclis of if this model will cast one spell, when it attempts to cast a spell, it is automatically cast with a casting roll of 12 and cannot be modified. Do not roll 2d6 and it cannot be unbound. This is really cool. It just means like, yep, you can't actually stop this. There's nothing you can do about this spell, which is cool. If Teclis wants to cast one, it happens. And that's it for the errata for the Lumineth Realm-Lords. I think it's pretty good. It's picked up a lot of the little things that are in the book, and all in all, I don't think there was an awful lot wrong with Lumineth Realm-Lords. So we do have a decent amount of questions that came into the designer's commentary. So can a unit that is a wizard use magical insight to cast a spell? No. This was the thought, potentially it was behind Eltharion, in that he can choose a spell but he's not a wizard, but now he can use the Aether Quartz reserves to get around it. But no, that is not the case. He's not a wizard, he can't pick a spell, and he can't use magic insight to cast a spell. If a unit is affected by both Crippling Vertigo and Darkness of the Soul spells, do I make 2 different rolls on 2d6 when the unit attempts to make a normal move or charge move? The answer is yes. So you can double down on these effects, which is really cool. If any models in a Venari unit that is in a Shining Company move away or are slaying, this one's pretty simple. It's can you make your Shining Company back up again? No. Once you leave Shining Company, you leave it forever unless you set up. That is the only way you can ever gain it back, because you gain it when you set up. If a friendly Siar unit that has been wholly within 18 inch of a friendly Siar hero uses a deplete reserves command ability, is it possible to use both the Aether Quartz reserves for the same ability, such as heightened senses, in the same phase? The answer is yes. So what this means is you can as well double down on the Aether Quartz reserves, which is really cool. So you can get multiple pluses to hit and stuff like that, which is really cool. Means you can really make this unit just completely hit, because you can get them down to 2s and then put a command point on them for reroll 1s, and can actually make them quite effective. Because most Lumineth aren't really the fightiest of armies out there. So question, can you explain what happens if Teclis casts a spell within range of an effect that requires you to reroll, change, or replace a successful casting roll? The answer is, as you do not roll the dice, a spell cast with the Archmage ability cannot be reroll, changed, or replaced. So this is really cool. It means other effects just don't affect him at all. It can't be stopped. It is what it is. Which is cool. Teclis is a supercaster, and he's getting more supercaster with just these answers here that you can't change his rolls. Which is interesting because there's ways that opponents can potentially change one of your rolls, and they can't do that to Teclis. Can the number of spells I pick for Teclis with the Archmage ability ever be increased or decreased? No. And so here we go into the restrictions, talking about Teclis. Because he has all these spells and he's guaranteed this number of spells, Like his limit is you can't increase or decrease, so things like Chronomatic Cogs and Umbral Spell Portal, not Umbral Spell Portal, Balewind Vortex do not affect Teclis. This is cool, like limiting, and like maybe it would have been cool if like you could pick them and like get him more spells, maybe. But I don't think I think this is just the easiest way to keep the rules nice and clean, because otherwise you'd have to add in a whole bunch more text about how those extra spells get added in, and how like Teclis's abilities affect them. And so this one I've pretty much just gone through talking about that. I guess if the answer to the previous question is no, how do effects that allow a wizard to cast additional spells and work with Teclis, and they would not allow Teclis to cast an additional spell and are ignored. Cool. I mean, Chronomatic Cog still has an effect on Teclis, because like you can do it to slow down time to give him reroll saves, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I think that's just the easiest way to keep it nice and clean and not have to write another like 3 paragraphs of text to explain what those extra spells do and how Teclis's rules can affect them. It's just easier that way. It could have been cool for some like cool combos, but I think it's just easier and cleaner to keep it like he can only cast those 4 and does all those things he does already. Question: can you explain the sequencing change for the value of a d6 besides the Hishun Twin Stones and a friendly Lumineth Realm-Lord wizard draws power from the Twin Stones and then casts a spell within 12 inches of it? So, if it is your turn and the spell is successfully cast and not unbound after the effects of that spell have been resolved, you can first change the value of the d6 next to the endless spell to 1 and then increase the value of the d6 by 1. So effectively, if you're casting around it, you're going to get plus like your spell back into the Hishun Twin Stones. So you're automatically going to be on 2. If you cast a spell, draw from it, and cast, you're going to be back on 2. And then this is the big one, because this is sort of like talking about if successfully cast summon Sanctum of Amnatok with a Lumineth Realm-Lords wizard that is part of a unit that has more than one model, what happens to the other models in that unit? So this is a long-winded one, and I guess this needed a long-winded answer because it has like very different parts to it that you need to sort of explain. So the answer is, in order to set up the Sanctum Amnatok, you must be able to set up all of its models without moving any models from the caster's unit. If this is impossible, the endless spell cannot be set up. Sometimes this will mean that other models from the caster's unit will be inside the Sanctum of Amnatok. If this is the case, those models must remain inside the ring for as long as the Sanctum of Amnatok is on the battlefield. Models from the caster's unit cannot be moved across or by any part of the endless spell. So if you're wanting to do this, you have to sort of set it up in like a little bubble to be able to place it around. We're not quite sure how big that spell actually is yet. If an enemy unit targets a unit inside the Sanctum of Amnatok, the modifiers to hit and save rolls from the Signal of Nyagnara ability do not apply unless the caster is the only model from that unit on the battlefield. However, you can still roll for each enemy unit at the end of the combat phase with the Signal of Nyagnara ability as normal. Remember, the range of the unit inside the Sanctum of Amnatok is measured from the Endless Spell model itself. In addition, the Sanctum of Amnatok was cast by a model that is no longer a wizard, e.g. a High Warden from a Venari or a Warden's unit that no longer has 5 more models. The Endless Spell remains on the battlefield until the model is slain or dispelled. So there's a lot to take in there. It's pretty much saying like if you want to cast this, you have to be able to fit in. You can't reshuffle your unit. It has to be ready set up. So you're going to have to know certain deployment methods to be able to do this. They can't also move, and you don't actually get the benefits to hit and save for the unit unless the actual wizard dude himself is the only model. So which means you never get that benefit for any of the units that are wizards, because he won't be a wizard when he's the only model left. However, that endless spell does not go away as when the unit is no longer a wizard. It stays there until it's actually dispelled. So that's cool. You can cast it on unit 5 and just go, cool, this is just going to help this unit stay here that little bit longer potentially, maybe. Or create some bigger board space than the unit otherwise would have. But that's it for the Lumineth FAQ. What do you think of all these changes? Are there any they sort of missed that you think? I think they hit a lot of them. I think they hit most of them, or if not all of them, that I can think of. But it's a pretty good, solid FAQ errata and designer's commentary, I think. Thanks everyone for watching. What do you all think of the Lumineth FAQ? Did they get everything you wanted? Let us know in the comments down below what you think. Don't forget also to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every subscriber means the world to us, and we're fast approaching that 1500 mark, which would be amazing to hit soon. Also, down in the description below, you'll find links to our Discord server. You can come chat with us and have a good time with the community we've got going there. You also find a link to our Twitch channel, which we're trying to get everyone to go give a follow. It'd be amazing if we could get 50 followers there. That would be awesome. And lastly, you can find a link if you wish to support the channel more to our Patreon. And a special thank you to our Patreon supporters, especially our Sinful Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Soren, Philip Ward, and Chaos Spawn, and our Free Guild Regiment members, James and AJC. Thank you all. Stay safe, everyone. Stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey.